Ever noticed how your best ideas come when you are not trying? You grind all day and then the answer pops in while you are brushing your teeth or taking a shower. It feels like magic when that happens. But creativity isn't magic. It's a system. And you can learn how to use it. I'm gonna show you the 3-step practical framework that I use for any kind of creative process. I call this feed, forget, flow. First, you saturate your mind with relevant ideas, emotions, and experiences. And then you forget. You step away, take a walk, sleep, meditate, and you relax your grip and let go of needing the answer right now. And then you come back with a fresh mind, and without judgment, you let ideas and sketches emerge. It sounds stupidly simple, because it is. Creativity isn't forcing output, it's about input, rest, and flow. Because your brain has two modes. Focused mode, which is grinding, absorbing, feeding, and diffused mode, which is letting go, relaxing, subconscious processing. And I'm not making this up, by the way. This is your literal neurobiology. I'm sure you can think of an example where you were dealing with a problem or a question and you went to sleep and you woke up with the answer in your mind. So that's what this is. Creativity comes from balancing tension and surrender. But how do you actually implement it in a controllable way? So let's dive in. First step is the feed. This is where you feed your psyche with all the relevant information, experiences, and emotions. And this is where most people go wrong, by the way. They look at 2 Pinterest boards and call it research. But here's the real secret. It's not just mental. What you feed yourself emotionally is so much more important. So you gotta go deep, read, watch, sketch, take notes, but most importantly, engage. Because you remember 5% of what you hear, 10% of what you read, and 50% of what you do. So in this case, actual experience is king. That's why Pixar artists go on research trips all the time whenever they are making a film. So let's say you want to design a character. You start by gathering references, photos, artwork, mythology, fashion, figures. You intentionally fill your visual library. This is like priming your subconscious. You immerse yourself in the subject fully and you train your reticular activating system. Reticular activating system is like your brain's search engine. It filters in what you see and ignores the rest. Literally. Think of it as your internal TikTok algorithm. Whatever you engage the most, it shows you more of. So feed it junk, you get junk. Feed it gold, you get genius, creativity. And by obsessively focusing on a specific topic or theme, like symbols, architecture, colors, your RAS starts highlighting those things everywhere. And that's when ideas start chasing you down. It's even better if you don't just skim references and engage and go deep. Sketch, take notes, watch something about it, listen. If you can, get the first-hand experience. And try to allocate as much time as you can into this phase. So get absolutely obsessed and let your mind marinate on the ideas and the aesthetics, and it will make the connections in the background. And that's what I did when we were doing this Inktober challenge, which actually transformed into a comic book challenge. I was illustrating the story of this warrior character, and during that time I've read all my favorite Conan comics all over again, played lots of God of War and Assassin's Creed and all that, watched my favorite combat movies and animes all over again, and I was working out all the time, even got medieval combat lessons. So I was completely obsessed about it while I was on it. And when you do that, you are not just designing a character or writing a story, you are stepping into that world and you are living it, right? Breathing it. So you get the idea. This step is complete immersion in every way possible. But once you fully fed the fire, you don't keep stoking it, which is step 2. You forget all on purpose, right? Walk away. This is like the incubation stage. You let your mind chew on everything you put in it. And ideally, don't go out and involve in other mentally demanding activities. But forget really means is just reset, right? Do something that's completely irrelevant and that will change your state, right? Ideally move, walk, meditate, whatever it is for you. And this is the best time for some random hobbies you might have. It's pretty straightforward. And usually this step naturally connects to the last step, which is flow. So you fed the mind, you stepped back, let the chaos settle. Now, this is the part that's impossible to do because you don't do it. You've done the work, now you get out of the way. You let it happen. This is where you stop trying to control and, just go into it and create. I know it's easier said than done, but think of it like this way. You don't consciously grow your hair or beat your own heart. They all just happen. And same with going into sleep. You don't do the activity of sleeping, you fall into sleep. And same with dreaming. You don't choose what to dream. It's a natural process in your psyche. So it's more about creating that ideal environment and mental and emotional state than doing something. One of my favorite artists, Steven Pressfield, nails this down perfectly in his book Artist's Journey. And he says something like, establish the pipeline between your muse or your daemon or higher self, whatever you want to call it. That's your job as an artist. Everything else is secondary. So find that time and space where you can feel really relaxed and safe, and you can be open and vulnerable, and gently ease into it. And here's what's amazing. When you finally sit down and start creating, it often feels magical and effortless. Not because it's easy, because you already done the hard work. And yeah, as woo-woo as it sounds, this is the process, and this is as practical as it gets. And you know what's really amazing? When you apply this concept to your whole life, long term, you stop working and you start living the artist's life. But that's a story for a different video. Okay, so let's recap what we talked about. First, you start with feeding. Immerse yourself in the topic fully and feed your psyche in every way possible. And then you forget, release the grip and step away and let go. And then you come back, find your space, get into the zone, get into the state, and let it happen. To put it bluntly, garbage in, garbage out. Alright, so that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you real soon. Peace.